All right, man, peace. So, inside the NBA, they had a great roundtable discussion amongst Hall of Fame all-time greats like George Gervin, Dr. J, Oscar Robertson, Bernard King, Kevin Garnett, Lisa Leslie, in regards to where LeBron James's place is in the history of the league amongst all-time great players. I'm already on record as stating that LeBron James is definitely in my top 10. Probably about to break into the top 5. I think if he were to win another championship, I would put him over Larry Bird. Right now, I personally have Larry Bird at 5, and LeBron is basically 5A, probably 6. Just because of the impact that LeBron has had on the basketball court, the things that he's been able to do statistically, in addition to how he's been able to affect his team wherever he's gone. But do I believe that he's definitely better than Larry Bird? No, I do not. I believe that Larry Bird did a lot of things on the court that is very hard to quantify. And even if you were to play the numbers game, Larry Bird's numbers are definitely comparable to LeBron James. But we're going to get deeper into that in another video. But I just wanted to start the video at this point here because prior to the roundtable discussion that those all-time great NBA players are going to have, of course, here they're posting LeBron James's triple-double numbers, which is what has led to the discussion between LeBron and Larry Bird, a discussion that I've touched on numerous times on this channel already, because I believe that is a more fair comparison than the LeBron James-Michael Jordan comparison. To me, that ship sailed when LeBron choked against the Dallas Mavericks. Sorry, period. But I do believe that the LeBron James-Larry Bird discussion is a great one. Larry Bird kind of gets pushed to the side in regards to all-time great players. At one time, people were saying that Larry Bird was the greatest NBA player ever. Circa 1986, that's what they were saying. Is a man, Larry Bird, who won 3 straight MVP awards. Okay? LeBron James has never done that. As we can see on the list, LeBron James has just now tied Larry Bird in triple doubles. Just now at this point in his career, in his 15th season. Larry Bird did not play 15 years. He played from the 79-80 season to the 91-92 season. Okay, so I believe that's 13 years. And that's counting the fact that Larry Bird missed most of the 88-89 season. I believe he broke his foot that year. Or hurt his ankle. He had a lower leg injury that year. I also want to touch on the fact that Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith had a discussion on First Take a while ago in which they totally poo-pooed the sentiment that Magic Johnson was in LeBron James's class. Like, it wasn't even like they were trying to, not only were they dismissing Magic possibly being better than LeBron James, they did not even want to discuss Magic being in his class. Like, they were only willing to discuss who was a better point guard. Like, that was crazy to me. Now look at this triple-double list. Magic Johnson more than doubles LeBron James's triple-double output over a career. Please keep in mind, Magic played from 79 to 91. He also had a serious injury. I'm trying to remember what season it was. It was in the early 80s, probably the 80-81 season or 81-82. One of those seasons where he missed most of the season. As we all know, he came back for a very short stint in the 95-96 season. But he's played far fewer games than LeBron James, and he has over double the triple-doubles. So is a Magic Johnson, LeBron James conversation pertinent? Absolutely. The modern-day liberal sports media just wants to vaunt LeBron James up into Michael Jordan class. And, I mean, I could see the conversation had he not totally flopped against the Mavericks. Had he had 4 championships and, the other ones you kind of look at and say, well, he was kind of outgunned in some way, shape, or form. But, I mean, even then, he wouldn't have been able to compare to Jordan. But at least I could see the conversation. Right now, in the last, I would say, 2 to 3 years, LeBron James has finally mentally got to the level of Larry Bird. Because he was nowhere close before that.
There's a triple-double list.
Man, how ironic on this list tonight is Oscar Robertson was here.
Yeah, what did he want?
Man, the great Oscar Robertson.
Kid, Russell, Will. Yeah, there you go. So what do you reckon Because LeBron James wouldn't reveal it after the game when he talked to Kristen Ledlow. What do you think his message was to Lonzo Ball as he pulled the jersey up and was speaking to him just a few words? This is the first time they've met.
His message was to ignore you fucking idiots. That's what his message was. All you jealous idiots in the mainstream media, in the liberal sports media, who are trying to attack him because you're upset with his dad.
Well, first time,
Not just met on the court. First time they've met.
wow, that's impressive.
Mind you, LeBron really never had anything negative to say about LaVar Ball until LaVar Ball mentioned his children. So LeBron James, to me, of anyone, is the only person who legitimately had a reason to be upset with LaVar Ball. The rest of these guys are just projecting their insecurities.
That's impressive. He probably was initially saying probably something about him and his dad, because I think his dad had some words, and it's like, me and your dad have that's nothing to do with that. But more importantly, I think he was just saying, LeBron's the only one who understands what he's gone through. He's the only one who had this kind of anticipation to come into the NBA in the last 10, 15 years. So he's probably telling him how to handle that and what you should do to handle it.
And I like what I saw from Lonzo in that conversation. He looked LeBron dead in his face, dead in his eye. And I hope that everything turns out well for Lonzo. I believe that it will. I mean, barring any form of catastrophic injury, which hopefully he does not have to endure or go through. I believe that the sky is the limit for Lonzo Ball. He just has to tinker with his game in the offseason. To me, the Lakers are going to have to get rid of a couple of players who don't want to get down with the Lonzo Ball program, because Lonzo Ball is a stock that they have more invested in than a Julius Randle or a Jordan Clarkson, who, from what I have perceived, seem to kind of be against Lonzo Ball for whatever reason. We pretty much already know what those guys can do or what they're capable of. And if they're not going to get involved with trying to help him succeed, which is going to help the team succeed, then they have to go. But I like what I saw from Lonzo Ball in regards to what LeBron was telling him. And LeBron James is is someone who is very comfortable at this point in his career with what he's accomplished. And for all intents and purposes, LeBron has always shown, even though I get on LeBron for a lot of his social media antics, he's always shown a great amount of security in working with other players. He worked with Kevin Durant in the offseason many years ago when he didn't have to, when most players of his ilk would not have done that. Many players that LeBron has worked with, so he deserves a lot of credit for that.
And not take this too seriously at this stage in your career.
Well, first of all, he doesn't have any pressure. Pressure is where you don't know where your next meal is coming from.
Agreed.
Make a lot of money playing this game. Ain't no such thing as pressure. His father's putting a lot of pressure on him. LeBron's probably just saying, hey, kid, like your game. Keep working hard. Everything will be all right. Because, again, I never knew who Lonzo was. So, finally, I kept it ball, this, ball, that. So, when I Googled him, aggressive, 5 foot behind the line, shooting threes, great passes. So, I thought... In college, right? And in high school. So, right now he's playing safe. He's playing tender. But he's an okay player. He's a great teammate. He's a great kid. But, all that stuff about pressure, it's not him. It's other people.
Well,
I don't believe that it's his dad as much as Shaq is trying to imply, but I get where he's coming from. The best statement that Shaq made was that he's not under any real pressure, and I've touched on this already. Pressure, as Shaq said, is when you don't know where your next meal is coming from. Right? When you don't know how you're going to pay your rent or your mortgage next month, that's pressure. Pressure is not what Lonzo Ball is going through right now. Right now, he's pretty much just going through he's just pretty much being forced to run the gauntlet, because many people don't like the fact that of what his father represents, how his father's trying to throw off the NBA corporate whore paradigm.
Well, I think LeBron has mentored, like when I came in the league, I told you it was Dr. J, Moses, more importantly, Andrew Toney, Maurice Cheeks, Clement Johnson, Clint Richardson, Bobby Jones were amazing men. And they taught me a lot about life and more than anything. So listen, this kid's on TV, every promo, we show him. Kenneth just said it. First highlight, we went to him, and LeBron's playing.
Well, that shows you how great a job his dad has done in selling the brand. That's really what that shows you, is that his father's done a tremendous job selling the brand. But that's nothing new. I remember when LeBron first came in the league. The first time that LeBron went against Paul Pierce or Tracy McGrady or Kobe Bryant, they led with LeBron. So that's how the NBA sells its product. They want to market what's new. And that's how most businesses market their product. They market their product off of the newest edition of what they plan to sell to the people.
I watch other networks, and our network, we put his picture up. And he's not even the best rookie on his own team, but we still put his picture up. So there's a tremendous amount of pressure on this guy. And secondly, because of his dad. His dad put a bullseye on his back. LeBron would just tell him, man, you're going to be fine. Everybody's got an opinion about this kid after 10, 15 games. Just play basketball, man. It'll come out in the wash. But it's interesting. We judge these people so harshly right off the bat.
It's a microwave.
Yeah, especially people like you, Chuck. You judge his father very harshly. All LaVar Ball is the dude in the barbershop who has had a microphone put in front of his face. Everybody has seen this dude before. They're trying to make him out to be this terrible person. You know, anytime you've been in the barbershop, you've been on a basketball court, you know, you've been standing on the corner, you know, niggas in their cypher talking shit. There's always a guy there who thinks he could knock out Mike Tyson. He could outplay Michael Jordan. He could hit a baseball better than Barry Bonds. It's okay. The nigga is harmless. Everything he says, he ends with a brown tooth smile. It's not a big deal. They're trying to make LaVar Ball out to be this terrible guy because he said his son can outplay Steph Curry. Well, hey, big deal.
It's a microwave, man.
And it's unfortunate.
It shouldn't be.
It's unfortunate. I remember, I'm a big football fan. And Jared Goff is having a great year for the Rams. You remember last year, everybody was calling him a bust because he was the number 1 pick and the number 2 pick in the draft.
And Jared Goff just shows you how important it is to have a great coach. Coaches are so important. Game plans are so important. It's all about knowing and being able to see what that asset can bring to the table and how you can bring it out. Right? A coach is just an educator, right? The term educate, comes from a Latin word, educare. It just means to bring out, to lead out, right? Ducare means to lead. When you add the E as the prefix, it means outward, to lead out. A coach is an educator. You have to bring the best out of your ward, of your student.
And like this year, he's playing great. But last year, he's like, this kid, they wasted the number 1, 2 pick on him, blah, blah, blah. But guys, I don't judge guys that quickly.
I don't think any of us judge guys too quickly. However,
What do you mean?
I don't think we on the here.
No, we don't. But I'm saying,
But however, we're not judging Donovan Mitchell too quickly. We're not judging Ben Simmons too quickly. But when the statements do come out that he's better than Steph Curry, we're going, well, you better than Steph Curry. Oh, let me pull my seat up because I have to now pay attention because when I see Steph Curry, that's 29 points a game. That's close to 10 assists every night. So if you're better than him, we need to see this day one. And you're saying,
what I was looking for.
So that was the pressure that was bestowed upon him.
Yes, and I'm sure that Tiger Woods' father told Tiger Woods, you're going to be better than Jack Nicklaus. Serena Williams' dad told her, whatever the hell that is, you're going to be better than Martina Navratilova. You're going to be better than Steffi Graf. You're going to be better than all of them. So that is the nature of an educator, particularly one who is a tutor. When you're only, instructing one student, you want to pump them up. You want to hype them up. You want to make them see things. You have to see it before you can be it. You have to conceive it before you achieve it. I mean, that's just how it goes.
On him, but if we didn't hear that, we would be sitting back and going, "Wow, can you believe this guy has 4 triple doubles? Possibly 3, 4 triple doubles."
Exactly.
And it would be a positive instead of, well, all he has is 3 triple doubles for the season.
121, 112.
Different way to look at it.
The final.
I agree. Everything in life is about perception, and your perception is often based on your motivation. If your motivation is to be negative, then you're going to nitpick. If your motivation is to be positive, then you're going to seek out the positive and try to build people up. Look, brothers, in life, you either are a destroyer or you're a constructor. When you're a destroyer, you're going to destroy everything around you and you're going to end up destroying yourself. Most people who are negative, you'll find that they normally have some type of a substance abuse issue. Why? Because they hate themselves. They tear down everybody around them, and eventually they get to turn down themselves. People who are constructive, they like to build people around them up, and they build themselves up. They tend to do what? They tend to work out, go to the gym, eat healthy. They have fruitful relationships. Everything in life is about the energy that you put out. You get back what you put out.
The final, the Cavs go to 21.
We didn't create that.
No, 21-8. Meantime, over in Area 21, KG, a star-studded evening in Area 21. Let's check in with KG.
Thanks, CJ. Now it's time to ask KG, sponsored by Metro PCS. The question tonight is, where does LeBron James rank among the greatest? You know.
And I know it's hard for KG to ask that question because when he played, he hated LeBron with a passion. Them niggas in Boston, they hated LeBron. That's another thing. I get a lot of these Kobe fanboys that come on my videos and they say these type of things. Oh, well, Kobe, he didn't make the playoffs in 05 because he played in the West. If he played in the East, he would have made the play. Man, shut the fuck up. The East in the mid-2000s had good teams. Detroit was good. Cleveland was good. Boston was good. Miami was good. All right? Those teams all won championships other than Cleveland. They all won championships in the 2000s. Okay? Yes, the West was a tad bit stronger. But the reason why Kobe didn't make the playoffs in 05 is because he was not ready to lead. He had to be taught how to lead. That's why they had to bring back Phil Jackson. But when you're a great player, you make the playoffs. Okay? That's what you do. Period. And the reason why he didn't make the playoffs is because they always say, well, he didn't have anybody on his team. He ran everybody off his fucking team. He had him trade Shaq. Rick Fox is on record as saying that he retired early because he couldn't play with Kobe. And Phil Jackson is on record as saying he left because he didn't want to coach him. These are just facts. So, point being is this, to get to get back around to the original sentiment of the video. In the 2000s, LeBron James did play in a much tougher Eastern Conference. You can't get around that. Period. And when I say a tougher Eastern Conference, I'm talking about tougher than it is right now. I'm not saying that the Eastern Conference was tougher than the Western Conference. The Eastern Conference in the mid-2000s was tougher than it is right now. And who knows, in regards to this year, it may be tougher than we expect. It's Boston there. The Wizards are going to have, they're going to have their say. I don't think that they're going to be able to beat Boston or Cleveland, but they're going to have their say in the division. Toronto is competitive. We know that they won't beat Cleveland and most likely won't beat Boston, but they're going to be competitive. So there's some competitive teams out there in the East, man. Milwaukee. I have not seen too many teams in the East that don't fight. Most of these teams are fighting right now. They show some competitive fervor. Even bad teams like Phoenix, they come out and they compete.
While guys playing, it's pretty tough, but LeBron is obviously has a lot of accolades and has won a lot in this league. Your face is epic.
Yeah, Oscar Robertson, he's a master. He's a master hater. Oscar Robertson, he'd be like, yo, Oscar, what you think about Michael Jordan? Oh, he can score a little bit. No, he's okay.
Let me just start with you, Mo, since you're looking like that. Where would you rank LeBron amongst the greatest right now?
I think LeBron has been a tremendous basketball player, not only for himself, but for the league, and also for Cleveland. And even though he's a power player, he's not finessed like a lot of players who are great, like Curry and some other players. Mm-hmm. It's just hard for me to say that he's anything but the top.
Right. When you put him amongst the greatest,
I think he's going to rank among the greatest, no doubt about it. Top 10? In the top 5 or 2.
I agree. Top 5. Oscar, Oscar probably got him around top 2. Oscar probably has Kareem 1, and then LeBron somewhere in that top 5, maybe as high as 2. But I'm sure that Oscar has Kareem number 1.
I've never seen somebody in their 15th year play like this, but okay.
Hey, well, when he hit that drugstore counter, shit, it helps. Allegedly.
Okay. I think that he's pushing the limit, but what about you, Doc?
I usually look at a 10-year minimum before a guy should even be in that conversation.
Right.
Because I think it's unfair to the retired players.
Dr. J is one of the most underrated players to ever play. Once again, when I say things like Kobe Bryant is in the top 15 all time, I don't have my list from 11 to 20 plotted out like I do my top 10. But can you really say that Kobe Bryant is a better player than Dr. J? Can you really say certifiably that Kobe Bryant is better than Oscar Robertson, or more impactful than Moses Malone, or more impactful than even an Isaiah Thomas? Once again, it is not an insult to say that Kobe's one of the top 15 players of all time. I brought this up in a previous video. You look at a guy like John Havlicek. John Havlicek scored over 25,000 points with no three-point line, won 8 championships, led his team to 2 championships. Like, a lot of these guys don't know the history of the league. They just want to throw Kobe Bryant number 2 after Jordan. It's laughable to me. When you know the history of the league, you know the depth of the great players that came through the NBA.
Players, you start saying 5 years, 8 years, 9 years, anything less than 10.
No doubt.
So when he hit 10, I think he had pretty much accomplished as much as any other player except for Kareem.
Right.
So I kind of, as my all-time best NBA player, look at Kareem as being that guy.
Right.
So I would put Kareem, Michael, LeBron in that order right now.
You put LeBron before Kobe?
Yeah.
He did.
I agree. And yes, he is before Kobe. And most intelligent former players know that LeBron is above Kobe. It's really only the people who are Laker fans who put Kobe above LeBron, or who put Kobe in the top 10 and things of that nature.
He did. I was like, excuse me.
Well, just based on the
First off, Lisa Leslie, she talks out of place. Look, I understand you play basketball, but still, she really shouldn't even be in the conversation. You're a female player. Let's talk about the best female players of all time, okay? Cheryl Miller, yourself, Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper. You could talk about that list. Don't come in a panel of men and, as usual, throw off the energy by getting overly excitable, overly loud for no reason. Let me rewind it back. Just check out her tone and see how different it is from the men when they're asked the question.
in that order right now.
You put LeBron before Kobe?
Yeah.
He did. I was like, excuse me.
Well, just based on
That's a good list.
just based on their first 10 years.
No, it's okay.
The first 10 years in the league.
Yeah.
Now, Kobe played 20, Kareem played 21, right? LeBron is at 15 and Mike played 20. Whatever. So the conversation could change, but
No, the conversation ain't gonna change, Doc, and you know it. LeBron James is gonna play at least 20. That man might play 25.
but in terms of at that 10-year mark, that's my list.
What you, Lise?
I'm going to go with Jordan first and then Kareem. And I'm sure, you guys played with Kareem and saw him. And I think he was great in his ability to score in the sky hook, all of that. But I think when it comes to impacting the game and influencing it, obviously it was a different time. But I just feel like Michael Jordan was just the epitome of everything that we all wanted to achieve in terms of...
Yes, and you probably had a crush on him too. I've already stated my reasons for why Jordan is number one on my list. It's not even so much statistically. When you look at what he was able to do in the era that he did it, he's the only shooting guard in NBA history to dominate, win multiple championships in a big man era without a dominant big man. The only player in history to do that. Even the great Dr. J never won an NBA championship until he got Moses Malone. Now, let me say this about Dr. J. Dr. J dominated the Boston Celtics Larry Bird's first 4 years in the league. Other than 81, when the Celtics had to come back from down 3-1, were the Celtics able to break through in that early portion of Larry Bird's career? Now, the Sixers beat them in 80 and beat them in 82 without Moses. When they got Moses in 83, they had one of the great teams ever. But Dr. J didn't need to have that big man come along. Now, Jordan was able to win in an era where you had Shaq, you had Hakeem, you had Patrick Ewing, you had David Robinson, and you had a lot of other second-tier all-time greats. People like Brad Daugherty, who most people never heard of, who had to retire early due to injury, who was a phenomenal center, great player. Jordan was able to beat most of those guys in the finals or in the playoffs, other than Hakeem, who thankfully the Bulls never had to deal with, because that man was a monster and he was one of the top 10 players to ever play.
In terms of greatness. So I go Magic, Kareem, Kobe, then LeBron.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm an LA girl, so I'm always going to be a little biased about that.
That's super. You think?
You think?
What about you, Ike?
Magic.
Ike, let me hear it, Ike. Where you put LeBron amongst the greatest?
Man, I rank him up there, man, with Kobe,
Right.
Mike. You know, I mean, some of the things that he accomplished, and he's still playing, and he got time to do some more.
Right.
I mean, he's special, man. I mean,
George Gervin, also one of those guys who might on that list for greatest player to never win a championship. All right, he's definitely up there on that list.
I mean, think about it, man. He done played 15 years, and he's still playing just as many minutes as he started.
Don't think we give him enough credit.
You know, I mean,
Seriously.
it's almost like
Seriously.
scary, man. I mean,
And George Gervin, for those who don't know, was involved in the alleged Michael Jordan freeze-out in the '85 All-Star game. Now, the funny thing is that George Gervin got traded to the Bulls the next season, and allegedly Jordan was against him coming to the Bulls. They had a very icy relationship while he was there, allegedly. That thawed out a little bit. Interestingly enough, Michael Jordan, in his early part of his career, in his early 20s, he was a guest host on a show called Greatest Sports Legends. He got to interview a lot of old-time great sports legends. He interviewed O.J. Simpson, and he also interviewed George Gervin. And in his interview with George Gervin, they started to play one-on-one, which was very entertaining. For you brothers who never seen it, you can look it up. I believe it's on YouTube. George Gervin is another one of those guys who can go on a list of greatest players to never win not only not win an NBA championship, but also not win an NBA MVP award. His San Antonio Spurs teams, oftentimes they had to face the Lakers in the Western Conference playoffs in the early 80s.
I mean, not to rank him as one of the best to ever play.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
But no, let me ask you this. What's one? If you had to pick one thing that you love about LeBron, what would you pick that stands out to you?
His basketball IQ.
Right. Yes.
You know, his understanding of the game and how to play the game. I remember when he was a rookie, you were there, Doc. The league flew us in for his Rookie of the Year ceremony celebration.
This dude was a dominant scorer, Bernard King. This dude used to dominate people. He used to go at it with Larry Bird all the time, and before Bernard King got hurt, him and Bird used to go at it, and him and Dominique.
And I remember asking him this question when he was rookie. I said, you play the game like you've been in the game for 10 years. You know, why is that? He said, well, what I did growing up is I studied all of the older great players that came before, and I learned from watching those tapes. So he's a student of the game, and his basketball IQ is what I love the most.
Well, shout to LB, man. LB, you making it look easy, bro. Keep doing it. We love you. Back to you, EJ.
All right, thank you, KG.
Has anybody ever said, I mean, the guy's is one of the 10 greatest easily.
Who's that?
LeBron James.
Did you ever have to guard Bernard King?
I did. There was a night.
BK Broiler.
Had one of the quickest releases.
Oh my God. That's the reason why I won number 30.
Really?
Yep, Bernard King. I want to be Bernard.
No, you wore number 30 because you was the 30th guy on the bench. But anyway, yeah, Charles couldn't guard Bernard King, but nobody else could either. But nobody could guard Charles either. So Charles would get lit up, but he would light people up also. But anyway, I thought that this was a very good segment. Charles Barkley also stated that he believes that LeBron James is top 10, just like I do. Most NBA players who have played and who understand the game, they normally have LeBron anywhere from 3 to 10 in that range. Same as me, I have LeBron just outside the top 5. Once again, Larry Bird is 5. I would probably have LeBron 5A, or 6, of course. But he's touching on it. If he gets one more championship, I'll put him above Bird. But right now, not quite yet. But anyway, peace.